Police lights paint my driveway red and blue. My neighbor is on her phone, screaming. Across the street, I'm just watching the steam rise from my coffee. She called the cops because my truck was parked in my own driveway. What she didn't know. For months, she'd been reporting me to my base. And I'm the commander. Has a neighbor ever called the police on you for something ridiculous? Drop your state in the comments. Let's see how widespread this is. And don't you dare skip ahead because the courtroom reveal is worth the wait. My name is Colonel Marcus Treadwell. After my wife passed, I moved off the Air Force Base with my teenage daughter. I just wanted her to have a normal life, a quiet street, a sense of home. It started small. A cardstock note left on my porch, a violation for my flagpole. I called the zoning inspector, came out, took one look and said, "You're fine. It's your property." But that was just the opening shot. Then came the trash can gambit. One night I forgot to pull my cans back in by the neighborhood-approved time of 6 p.m. The next day I get a certified letter from my neighbor Denise, complete with time-stamped photos of my trash cans. Her cans, by the way, were still out. I set an alarm on my phone. Cans, 6:30 p.m. I started a log. This was the beginning of my SIA phase. Volume isn't law. Paper isn't law. Paper is next. It was my parking. I have a wide driveway, and sometimes park at a slight angle. Denise called the police. 2 officers, Ramirez and Hendricks, showed up. They were professional, but tired. Ramirez just shook his head. "Colonel, it's your property. You can park however you want." Before they left, Officer Hendricks handed me his card. On the back, he'd written, "Document everything. Time, date, officer names. It helps build a case. I don't pull rank. I pull receipts." Would you park your truck perfectly straight just to avoid the calls? Or would you stand your ground on your own property? Let me know. That's when I realized this was a pattern. I filed a public records request with the township. 63 pages came back. 47 complaints against my address in 6 months. 19 police calls. Harassment laws are tricky. They need a clear, documented pattern. And now, I had one. Have you ever seen a chronic complainer like this where you live? The escalation was almost comical. One morning, an orange cone appeared at the end of my driveway with a laminated note from the Neighborhood Safety Committee, a committee of 1. Then, she took her crusade to the town hall. She had a whole slideshow prepared, using a laser pointer to highlight my violations, the flagpole, the parking angle, the trash cans. A retired Army vet in the audience, Mr. Brooks, stood up and said, "Ma'am, what a man does on his own property is his business. Off-duty conduct matters, but this isn't misconduct." The council tabled her petition. Then she started calling the base. The gate logs showed multiple calls from a civilian, verbally abusive, reporting a rogue officer. She even had a lawyer send me a letter threatening to escalate this to your chain of command. I just smiled. A Freedom of Information Act request to my own Inspector General's office showed 6 unfounded complaints against me, all from her. She also sent a fake HOA letter demanding dues. The return address was a UPS store box. I forwarded that one straight to the postal inspector. What's the worst fake HOA move you've ever seen? The final straw came one morning when I found my truck tire slashed. My Nest Cam caught a hooded figure in my driveway at 2 a.m. The very next day, a Child Protective Services caseworker was at my door. The report was anonymous, but the timing wasn't a coincidence. The caseworker was professional, saw my daughter was happy and healthy, and closed the case on the spot, noting it was likely retaliatory. That was it. The gloves were off. I compiled everything: the police logs, the IG dismissals, the security footage, the fake HOA letter, the CPS report into an 83-page petition for a restraining order. The day in court was something else. I wore my dress blues. When the judge called my case, Denise was smirking. Then I stood up. I watched the color drain from her face as she finally connected the dots. The neighbor she'd been harassing was the same commander she'd been trying to report. I placed the binder on the table with a thud. The judge went through it page by page. He saw the police reports, the testimony from CPS, the evidence from the postal inspector. The restraining order was granted, no contact, a 100-yard buffer, and a special provision. Any future complaints against me, to any agency, had to be pre-approved by the court to prevent further harassment. The judge then referred her case to the district attorney and the U.S. Postal Service for potential criminal charges of filing false reports and mail fraud. We didn't just win, we wrote a playbook anyone can run. A few weeks later, we threw a block party. It was incredible. A whole street came together. Mr. Brooks and I started the Good Neighbor Fund, a small nonprofit to help others legally document and fight this kind of harassment. We even funded a small scholarship. We planted a Japanese maple in my front yard with a small stone at its base. It reads, "In memory of those who stood up, in hope for those who will." So what one receipt flipped your case? Was it a time-stamped photo, a specific ordinance page, or a certified letter? Comment receipts below, along with your state. I want to hear your stories. New justice stories backed by receipts are coming every week. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss the next one at S, about a contractor who went head-to-head with a sergeant, Major S' entire off-duty construction crew. Thanks for watching.